Shit. What's good with what's good with y'all? Just give me a little moment. Most of the people don't even be knowing I be live anyway. So if anyone's viewing, share the video. Thanks. We're actually gonna talk about something tonight. It'd be better. Hey, share the video if you can. I don't know who's viewing, but it's either you being nosy or you trying to see what's up. We going in tonight. Just a little bit. Playing with these filters. I ain't know they was sounding like that. Yeah. So boom. Let's talk. Let's talk. I like how share the video. Nobody knows when I'm going live. And then they fuck around, delete the shit. And then I be on here talking like y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. And we can't have that. Alright. I mean, I'm gonna keep coming on though. I don't care about none of this shit. But yeah, though. Let me play this real quick. Give me a little second real quick. Hey, so breaking the code, right? Ooh. Hey, so somebody asked me about the news, right? And it got me thinking of what I used to say when I first started waking into this code. It's just when I got on Netflix one day, it was like this little show where the FBI dropped, and they was like, or the CIA dropped or some shit, and they was supposedly revealing stuff. Like with cords like this, how spies will actually plug their phone up in a certain circuit or plug it to your phone or something like that, and they can start tracking you that way. All types of stuff, dealing with anything that has a GPS, right? And then they were revealing how they were doing such things, but they were putting it in codes for the masses not to know of, right? So apparently, when they were saying nobody was gonna break the code, I saw this after I broke the code. But as I'm watching that, I'm realizing I've been realized, but more when I was like fully. I mean, I'm fully on that shit, but like I got distracted, right? There's no backslider when you on this shit, but me, it wasn't fully a backslid. It was a moment of clarity that I had to, you feel me? But at the same time, it was spiritual warfare going on at the same time. But back to point, I started realizing what I used to say, because they was talking about a code, right? It was one of these Bobby Hemmett videos. I don't know. You know, a lot of other people post videos and put pictures and shit and all types of numbers. But this one picture specifically, because it was between Rashad and Bobby Hemmett, was all I listened to. Then I started picking up on Dr. Valentine shit. But it was like once I hear shit, then it would get me rolling. You feel me? Like after a while, like I went from listening mode to in in rolling mode, you feel me? Like, and I like doing this shit. So it's like, I really haven't been writing too much, but that's really what I'm about to be doing. And focusing on some other shit. Because dealing with this ascension is still dealing with a trinity, but it's a mental, spiritual, and physical thing. So you're taking care of your consciousness, the spiritual, and the physical. Because really the spiritual and the physical is the two. Feel me? The conscious is the three. Feel me? It's the and the really that's dealing with it's pretty like the triangle dealing with time, right? Time has its own trinity too, but it deals with distance and speed, right? But then if you was to put the distance at the top to see how you get the distance, you have to deal with speed and time. And if you was dealing with speed, you would have to deal with distance and time, right? To figure out the three, the C, which is pretty much the C, the gamma, right? Because when they're interfering A and B from a reverse perspective, it's going to spell ba, right? But these are dealing with, this is your brain is pretty much a double electrode applicator if it was a machine, right? So to manipulate that, they had to tie to your solar energy, right? Being because you're a solar being. So that's when it ties back to mu and nu, because your body is a reflection of the grid, period. Because that's how it operates, right? Because really it's not too much of the body, too much of the planet, and all that is really the energy is operating. The energy is operating in the flesh. Feel me? So that's what it ties to the level 33. Because really, it's supposed to be a whole 360, right? But in a higher interval, it ties to the year or the timeline or the cycle 369. But it's actually 4 cardinals. So it goes to a 369 3. And it's only that 3 because the 12 is a 3. You feel me? Meaning that it repeated. Feel me? It repeated. So after that 9, it went 1, 2, 3. But they just called it 12. Feel me? Because that's going into a higher interval from itself. A 1 is still a 2. A 2 is still a 3. A 4 is still a 5. Really, the 1 through 9 is just 1. You feel me? 1 through 9 is whole. I mean, it's wholeness. You feel me? That's like levels. Feel me? So back to what I was about to say though. So when it comes to these codes, bro, or family, when it comes to these codes, family, a lot of them mean shit. So when they're telling news and telling you about these certain tanks that you don't have no fucking clue about, and it makes you want to look it up or something, start looking it up in other terms. Because when they're coming with manipulation, bro, or family, when it's coming with manipulation, it's dealing with metaphysics. And metaphysics consists of pathology, biology, and chemistry. Biology dealing with the study of life, which is the study of DNA, which ended up being the study of the energy and how it connects, right? To see the chemistry and the reactions and the chemical compounds, what could be created once it's involved with something else in the air, because when it's in the air, it's in your body too, so, right? They all had this shit plotted. They even gave you the diet you supposed to eat and niggas went with it, right? Which is involved with the air that they're manipulating, because you're the air of the blood and the blood of the body. So when it comes to like Egyptian type of resemblance, like they got their little trinity. Well, they made a trinity dealing with Shu, Tef, and Ra, right? So in my eyes, Shu represents the air, the blood of air, right? So the blood of the air is literally the air. It has atoms just like these bubbles is floating all around. Feel me? It's atoms all through it, just like your blood. You feel me? And your blood creates air for you to even breathe, dealing with the organs and everything else. But the more air you produce, that's dealing with the more cells, the more atoms, but the correct atoms, like natural atoms, right? Because the food, these meats and shit, bruh, it ties back down to a spike protein, right? So certain foods can, you know, when your hemoglobin is trying to transport the proper proteins to your respiratory system, it can get clogged up dealing with too much spike proteins, too much unnatural shit, too much shit that's not supposed to be in you. That blocks, that makes it seem like you're having blood pressure because there's a dam being built, which is another word for blood clot. Is a dam being built up, which is stopping the flow. So when your red blood cells can't get to where it's supposed to get past that block, it builds pressure, but also wherever them red blood cells were supposed to go, it begins to weaken that area that's not getting them, right? And you wouldn't have the blockage if you were reproducing enough red blood cells to fight it under the sun, because these elements deal with Ra, well, the sun, feel me, under the sun, the plasma. That's what it represents, the plasma. You feel me? So Shu would be like the air and the fire, right? Because the air, now you breathe and now you can heat your body up. That's dealing with fire, but why is that dealing with fire? Because now you're making your blood flow through where it needs to go. It's building up, right? And that's dealing with all your chakras, the four states of matter, and the four elements, right? So spike proteins can cause pathological blood destruction, and then it starts to grow its own cells, right? Manipulating itself with your genetic code. But when it's not natural, that doesn't really produce growth. It produces destruction, maybe at a slower rate. But now that we're at a higher rate dealing with a newer energy, it's a way faster rate. So when you're feeling fatigued and sleepy, that's because your body's trying to repair, right? Because really that's what's going on, period, anyways. A lot of repairing is going on, or if you're going against it, a lot of destruction can be going on in your body. So when you're feeling fatigued, that most likely means you're not getting enough minerals. You're supposed to have enough minerals to where you feel like you just have hella energy. And when you have hella energy, you need to use that energy to do something that you weren't doing when you didn't have it. You feel me? Because we run off of energy, like we are energy. We're supposed to keep it rolling. They taught us that your cells were supposed to die out, but they're not. That's saying like that's like giving you a time. That's like giving you a date to your life. You feel me? That's like putting an expiration date on your life. I mean, if you want to, you can, but I'm just trying to just tell you. Feel me? Shit could be different. Like you're not supposed to get old for that reason because it's dealing with a mental and physical thing. If you're thinking you're getting old and then tied down to the shit that's making you old physically, then your perspective is going to give that signal to that cell. And then that's going to eventually start blocking out the input that you were receiving and the output, right? So really you don't want to clog your connectivity. Your your cells deal with connectivity, right? Connections. That's why your body is a reflection of the universal cycle, because your DNA is the universal cycle. It ties to the Akashi records, all that shit, because it's connectivities. You're really connected this whole fucking time. They're trying to disrupt the connectivity in the air, because then that could disrupt the connectivity within you. But that's only if you're going along with their system, dealing with the food, the drugs, and because when you're in the air, that it makes different chemical compounds within you. So that's when it comes back to these quarterbacks, right? I look at the news as little quarterbacks, running backs, all types of shit. The news, all of them, pretty much, because anything dealing with media, right? They're all plotting a script, right? So it's like football. When you have football, right, especially in a younger league, they might do it in an older league. I know they do it in college. But look, you get these wristbands, right? So say if they yelled out a code, Delta, Delta, B113, R1, R1, B1331, whatever. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? They yell out these codes, right? And then it's either dealing with left or right or the formation. But remember what I said, what I say left and right when it's dealing with the brain. Yeah, it's like a binary system. And when it connects, it turns into a trisolar system. But when it forms that, when it starts to denote that energy is operating as a quad solar system, which this planet is a part of, a quad solar system. Sirius makes it a quad solar system because Sirius is actually a gateway that opens to A, B, and C, and X. A plus B equals C, but that's only creating one pyramid. So when your A and B come together to C, now it's creating a whole nother pyramid on top. So that's diamond energy. Feel me? Crystal energy. Blue crystal energy, however you want to call it, is crystal energy. A and B, left and right, comes together like a twin, forms C, creates an energy. This is doing it within. You do this when with your mate. You do this with nature. You denote new energy, right? So you can take in messages and you can send them out. It's telepathy. And that's what's a lot of things that's going on right now, dealing with the spiritual war. It's a telepathy war. That's what the cyber attacks, it's a replication of telepathy war. Shit that you can do through your telepathy, connecting within. Because when you connect within, it sends out. It's music, inputs and outputs. Feel me? So look, so these numbers and all types of shit on these formations that they're calling out, you have to remember 1 through 9 is dealing with energy. 3, 6, 9. The different, it just goes into a higher interval, right? And then the alpha beta system is actually the cycle, right? Dealing with 19 and 23, because it's not really 26 letters, is they just have different translations, because the alphabet is just different vibrations. It's just one letter might actually mean another letter, right? So it got simplified to 19 to 23. But really, those letters that we have in like 3 different forms, those are tying down to a tri-solar system. Feel me? And the 2 tying down to a binary system, right? But when binaries come together, it makes a light, makes the light bulb. It denotes the new energy, right? Denoting the cycle within its matter. You feel me? Or within its state of matter. So that's like 6D, how I said we in 6D. That's dealing with 6 thunders plus 1, that's 7 thunders, right? Or 7 seals, or the 7 sisters, or the 7 elders, or, you feel me, the 7 trumpets, right? It ain't fully, the frequency, I mean, it's there. They're there, but it's gonna start, the grid's gonna, like, you're still gonna start seeing them more, period. Like, especially when you have an eye for it. You can even catch an eye for it just from the games and movies used to play, like Halo, for example. Like, if you just peep the holographic ships and the players, like how you can kind of still see them, but most of the time they were invisible when they got that little, that perk, feel me? They got that perk, they was a little invisible, and you couldn't see them, but you could still see them to shoot them. That's how it be when these beings be around you. Most of the time, they don't even want you to see, not to see yet, because of reactions, right? When you're in a balanced state, your body can react to threats without really trying. So you have to be used to what is a threat and what could not be a threat, right? So getting back to point. All right, so say they're calling all these formations, right? They're all dealing with the same playbook, but they're all dealing with the same playbook to win their game, right, against us. They're on offense, we on defense. But a lot of the times, we got more teams that's representing us, and there's teams that's representing them all over. But it's just like Madden, how you can use one team to make it look like this way, but you're using a whole nother playbook from a whole nother team. You feel me? Just like Madden, they're playing games. So, but just like, bruh, I'm hip, nigga. Gotta press the square. So look, all right, so that was corny. But look, the formations go by these, always go by the calling of what the quarterback says, right? It's gonna either go left or right, dealing with Lasso and Rudy. Feel me? That's how we used to say. So that's A and B, dealing with the grid, that's Mu and Nu. So that deals with the moon manipulating A and B, because when they were manipulating it, they had to attack you mentally. That deals with your energy a lot, mentally. And your body, physically with the drugs and the food, plus the manipulation of the cycle by putting the clouds in between. You feel me? Because if you put 3, 6, 9, 3 in the upwards position, it will have, but you always got to flip the 3. Feel me? The last 3, because that stands for ether. 3, 6, 9, ether. Rebirth. 3, 6, 9, higher ether. Rebirth. 3, 6, 9, higher ether. Rebirth. Feel me? Really, the beginning is the ether, and then boom, rebirth, or however you want to say it. Reverse is the same way, because 1 is a 3, 1 is a E, dealing with 6, 9, the cancer symbol, right? So connecting the parallels is going through right now. So we're 50%. So the sun, really the universe and what's aligned to the sun is rising. Then they got this CERN shit. So the poles are speeding up. So it's gonna happen way before they think it's gonna happen. I'm getting off topic. For real, but no, I'm still on topic. It's just, I want y'all to get how they perform this shit like they're doing it like a football team. They're saying these plays, like Delta, Delta, woo, 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 just to say what's going on. All these shits be codes. Even ABC is a code. 525,000, all that shit's a code. Your commercials be codes. The news be codes. They be putting codes out. It's up to you to look at it in metaphysical ways. Dealing with pathology, chemistry, and biology. And if you want to go into it more deep, dealing with English, you still got to do that too. That's dealing with English, Greek, and Hebrew. That is main point. But when it goes into the symbolisms, it goes a little back to Phoenician and Kemetic and shit like that, right? Because all this shit, the ABCs, the zodiacs, even the ancient symbolism, bro, all of that was showing you a cycle. It was telling you about a cycle. It was telling you about you, about the natural energy, all this shit, bro. And then it was telling you what got in between. In my eyes, I feel like the chaos energy dealing with the Kundalini got in between from someone who was operating his power with the wrong intent. But not because he wanted to be like that. It's just he didn't see yet fully. It wasn't his time yet. But it was his time, but it was his time type of shit. So look, that being said, all these letters and shit represents energy. So this shit that's going on is tied back to an energy cycle, right? This whole pandemic is tied back to an energy cycle, the DNA, your energy cycle. So it also talks about color spectrums when it comes to these codes, just like the wristbands that be on for football when they call out the play. They got different wristbands for different formations telling you what you need to do through that code so the defense isn't aware of what you're about to do to them, right? So when you see me on here trying to break down some weird shit, bro, and it don't make sense yet, it's because you ain't listening to what I'm saying now. They're sending codes visible to your eye. So when you try to blame them, fuck them at the end of the day. I'm not sitting here blaming them, though. If anything, is our fault for even allowing this shit to happen. That's why slavery is a choice. You feel me? I even thought that to myself before Kanye even said that. I'm not trying to take no or throw no shade or anything. I just felt him when he said it though, cause I said that shit to myself. Cause like thinking at this age of time and how I was growing up, even if I didn't have to go through a lot of that shit, like I didn't have to really fight a lot of people, for real, for real. And I didn't really get bullied neither. Had niggas just wanted to pop up, but I see that's how the ancestors work. So it's like this shit is tying to energy, these hurts, everything. So even these years they're giving you is tying to a hurts that's coming off the sun. So when you're thinking, you see how how they got everybody on full consciousness, all this at the time as it's happening, right? I mean, yeah, there's people that's in position, but not all of them is on the same page at the dealing with the end game. So they might seem like they're here to help, and they're not. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I say use your own discernment. You have to use that at all times, because there's definitely spiritual warfare going on. At this point, I already know how this clone shit work. It's just another copy of the shit we do. Is a copy of how cells and atoms reproduce itself, and it deals with the stars too. Just how like binary systems create a whole new light, a new light spectrum. So say if 6 stars or 6 zodiacs are lined up, those 6 zodiacs are gonna pair up in threes, but really they're gonna pair up in twos. So that's gonna make 3 different pairs lined up to one, the sun, right? So then that creates the 7. So as the 6D is rising, those are 3 binary systems now from 6 different zodiacs, right? So that's why it seems like the energy is getting a little intense now, or getting a little higher, because it is. You're dealing with more energy now because the magnetic field is more open to you now. It's just the shit that a lot of people don't know is this shit that everyone's waiting for literally happened in 2017. And this is dealing with the 7-year tribulation from 2017 to now. Well, leading to December 19th, 2023, right? It's just we got 2 more gates that's open dealing with the seals, right? We're dealing with the 4. We're dealing with the the beast they have in the Bible with the lion, the dragon, the snake, and the eagle type shit. That's dealing with the lion's gates, right? So really I gotta stop saying lion's gates with an S, but that's how I've been able to explain it. It's just I start realizing that that's dealing with the Chimera dragon, right? Which is in Japan. But anyways, the Chimera is what had those animals, but the animals always represented through visual as symbolism when it came to stories. So the symbolism was to show you about how Sirius opened up. Well, really, it's not even serious. Yeah, serious, but yeah, serious. But I'm starting to think maybe it could be tied to something else, dealing with the four animals from their symbolism, right? Cause lion deals with Leo, with Cancer going into Leo, but that's pretty much the cycle, the air cycle going into fire, cause Gemini air, uh, Cancer deals with water, but since it's dealing with air at the same time as a twin, uh, that's dealing with the water in a higher state of matter, dealing with the air, right? Pisces deal more with uh I would say the ocean because they made it a fish. And Scorpio's gonna deal more with the energy with the sun, or what you would say the moon, right? So that's the Trinity dealing with the water though. But saying we in Gemini right now really is kind of like an Aquarius. Uh, we in Gemini right now. Cancer is supposed to be next. That's my symbolism because I know it's dealing with connectivities